Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over Palworld and overall the future of Palworld, along with their previous games of Pocket Pair, which is the publisher slash developer of Palworld, to kind of see what we're looking at here for this game in the future. So first off, this game is made in Japan, which at first was a little bit surprising to me since it has a lot of gun influence and kind of like a westernized view on probably a Pokemon slash monster catcher game. So I kind of actually did think originally it was going to be made in the US slash another westernized, basically the US because we have a lot of guns. So it's made in Japan. Not that really matters, I'm just saying it was kind of surprising me when I found that out. So the video games they made I'm going to talk about are Craftopia, Over Dungeon, Nevergrave, and there's also this AI game. It's not that popular, but it's still a game they have underneath their belt. So first I'm going to talk about Craftopia. Craftopia is a game that apparently originally when it came out, and probably still to this day, had a lot of Legend of Zelda influence, and people were saying it was a Legend of Zelda ripoff. Hence, kind of ironic that, Palworld is having a lot of criticism for being a Pokemon ripoff. Being either copy and pasting models, AI, stuff like that. I don't know how much that's true or not. I'm not here to confirm that. There is a lot of similarities between a lot of the PALs and a lot of the Pokemon. I do try to separate the two games for their respective... People did put time and effort into making their own game. I think they should have their own name to their own monsters. So these basically this game over here, it doesn't really remind me a whole lot of Legend of Zelda. This is besides the point, but a lot of people were relaying it to Zelda, which is what I was kind of getting at there. This game is also in early access. Came out in 2020. It's been in early access for 4 years now. I do remember this game being on a couple sales a while back. I never checked into it much, but pretty much what this would tell me is this game was most likely in development for about a year and a half beforehand, or 2 years. So around 2018, probably 2019, they started developing this. Released it in 2020. Probably put a bunch of updates into it, and it looks like they're still updating it. But it's still in early access, which is very worrisome. Judging by this is probably their second biggest game, and if they put any time into this, while putting time into Palworld with an indie studio, that could mess up things. Now, or slow down processes is what I mean. Next up, we got their smaller game. This one really isn't known, but it's AI Art Imposter. It's kind of ironic being a game called AI Art Imposter whenever your game, Palworld, is being criticized for potentially using AI. Like I said, it's just kind of ironic. I don't know if they actually used AI or not. But this game came out in 2022. Like I said, probably for a game like this, since they made Craftopia, it probably took them about a year to make. Let's say a year, be generous. So probably about 2021 is probably whenever they started making this game. Looks like they put it out. It's still in early access. It's a $5 game. It's still in early access, and this game doesn't look super on the scales of games, super complicated to make. So that kind of is weird that this game's in early access still, being it's 2 years in development. This game is, if I'm not mistaken, their first game they came out with on Steam, from what I saw. This is looks like a pretty alright game. It's a kind of like Slay the Spire roguelike card game. And it came out in 2019, so it came out before Craftopia. This game actually released. So the last time they actually released a game is in 2019. Since then, they have not released a full game. They've been in early access. This also weirds me out too. So this game, Nevergrave, is published by this company. It's not developed by it, but it's published by Pocket Pair. It's in early access without even being at all released yet. It's still in early access. It's a Q1 2024 game. With all that said, Palworld is in early access. So you got 1, 2, 3 potential games. These two kind of don't count, this one and this one. But Craftopia is a big concern here that even they're probably the biggest game to this point hasn't released yet before they released another game. So there's a very big possibility that by the time they release another game, Palworld doesn't even come out of early access. So let's go a little bit into the company here. It's an indie game company from Japan. What that means is there's fewer people, or less than 50 basically employees of the company to be an indie company. And according to this article, about 40 people during the game's development time. And the game costed them 1 billion yen to make, which would be about $6.75 million today. And if it was a different conversion rate like pounds or something like that, it'd be a little bit less. But ultimately, this game costed them quite a bit of money to make, and according to this article, how they made it is they basically put money into it until they were either running out of money or they just needed to release the game because they were out of money. So there's really no budget into this game. Which if they take this approach and they just spend all the money they got from being an absolute catastrophically big success right now on Steam and probably Xbox, they can make this game super good. They can hire probably another 10, 20 people and just crank out some updates. Will they do that? I don't know. It's up to them. But from the looks of it, I don't think they really haven't finished a game in a long time, so we'll see. That's very big up in the air to tell. I did see some articles, especially if you watch Asmongold. He did a video over this, and he said $10,000 on a tweet from an interview they had. I just cannot see a world where this game was made with $10,000 of budget. I possibly, but this article right here makes a lot more sense to me. They basically said they got 40 people after they basically had the trailer come out in 2021. They retraced their steps because they're originally going to release it with, I guess, 12 PALs, right? Or 25 monsters. Or at this time, they're monsters, probably 25 PALs. But, however, due to the reaction to the game trailer, the team appeared to rethink their game scope. So they hired a lot more people, bringing up to 40 to basically make a lot more PALs, essentially. Which, good on them for doing that. If they keep doing that, they have a really solid chance of being a very big powerhouse on the consoles, for sure, and the computer, especially. Now, this is a little bit going into the future of Palworld in terms of what their updates for the game are, what they want to do on the roadmap. And this is from IGN, so it's a pretty reliable resource for gaming. So the early access roadmap, pretty much everything that I've seen is, so we got improvements to the AI, key configuration, stuff like that, probably just smoothing things out, making things not as clunky. It has a planned PvP function, which is very cool. I hope they increase the depth of combat. I don't think it's enough right now. It's very bare bones. You kind of just select your monster and then hope you get headshots, That's pretty much how the combat goes when you're fighting people. The raid bosses, sure, to basically just give in-game content. The PAL Arena, PvP for PALs. Now, I don't know how this will work, again, because you can't really select moves, and they're kind of just set with preset moves. So that's going to be, maybe you switch them out and that's the strat, but it sounds like a lot of Pokemon Go type style combat there, where it's very bare bones. Steam Xbox crossplay, that is huge. This should be prioritized over everything, honestly. This is the crossplay compatibility that should be prioritized instantly, especially being that Game Pass is a big deal with this game. So just a lot of improvements. Just basically a lot of improvements. New islands, PALs, bosses, and technologies. I would push this back if I was them to the last. I would do everything here first, and then this would be DLC stuff. I really just have a hard time believing they're going to put this out in any reasonable time frame. I really don't. Probably I would expect this off of my kind of interpretation from all these other games. Probably within a year and a half at earliest, you'll see a new island or new PALs. PALs will probably come before islands, but yeah. And just looks like it's cleaning up the game a little bit. That's really the roadmap. Is pretty much, to me, the big takeaway here is Steam, Xbox crossplay, and some PvP stuff, because I don't think this is going to come around anytime soon. So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good day, everyone. See you on the next one.